Well, a very good morning, and welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. New season on the Monday morning chat returns for another season. If you're new to the channel, this is basically where we go through the weekend's action on a Monday morning, dissect things on a deeper level, and just have an overall overview of whether it's a game or anything that has happened over the weekend in terms of West Ham, where it feels like Antarctica this morning. It's like Arctic, it's cold. But apart from that, West Ham picked up a point over the weekend over Bournemouth, of course, and well, it sort of split the fan base where some fans were content with the point and some fans were frustrated. Well, I think all fans were frustrated, but some more than others about the manner of how we conceded and the manner of how we sort of went about that pretty much last half an hour, where after scoring a goal, we got the 1-goal lead and we continued to sit back and invite pressure after that and try and hold on to that 1-goal lead and win in a not nice and win ugly. And of course, it didn't work. We conceded 9 minutes from time. Dom Solanke with a little bit of a fortunate goal with the ball landing at his feet and sort of dribbled around Areola and put it into what was in the end pretty much an empty net. And I think the frustration sort of stems from the fact that we had that game won. You know, we could have won that game, and it was just whether it was Moyes. And again, there's been a different talking point because Jared Bowen came out on the post-match interview and said that it was the players' fault for pushing back and sitting back and retreating and sort of camping in our own half, which then did evidently bring a pile on of attack and chances for Bournemouth, which in the end inevitably resulted in them getting a goal on the board and levelling things up and cancelling out that very good Bowen strike in the 52nd minute of the game down at the Vitality. So, you know, there's different ways you can look at it. Of course, there's been criticism for Moyes, and probably rightly so. But was it Moyes or was it the players? Because some people said who were in the stadium, Moyes was urging the players to push up in the final, 20, 30 minutes of the game, urging them to push forward and get out of our own half. So was it the players' fault? Should we be blaming the players more for these situations? Or does the sort of criticism solely remain and lie with the manager? I think it's an interesting talking point, because you've got a manager we quite clearly know what wants to do. Moyes wants to get a 1 or 2 goal lead and park the bus, hold on, not take any risks and defend for our lives. As soon as we get that lead, it's right, let's shut up shop. And that's what Moyes is going to do. We've known that for a long, long time. He's done it. He's done it for a long period of time in the Premier League. He's been successful at Everton in the past for the way that they played football. He's been not so successful at clubs like Man United and over in Spain. But, overall, it was crap last year. But you'd say that Moyes' West Ham European campaigns have been successful. The way we've gone about it has been successful. But having said that, the fans are going to get increasingly frustrated. The fans, week in, week out, are going to get angry in the way that game, we could have had 3 points out of that game. Just if we'd have made a slight adjustment and just been slightly more proactive in that last half an hour, I don't believe we would have conceded in that game. I think we would have carried on, maybe even got another goal and won the game, because that game was there for us to win. It was in our hands. As much as, yes, I do think it's a point gained, because any point is an advantage on the opening day. Any point you'll take as a club of West Ham stature, with the run of fixtures we've got coming up, our worst nightmare would have been to lose and to be nil point after the opening match week of the season, then going into our run of fixtures hunting for points. So of course we are still hunting for points, and the instilled frustration and anger is because we could have given ourselves a bigger boost and got 3 points on the opening day. But at the end of the day, it's not the worst result in the world. I think there's been, I wouldn't say the criticism and frustration is unnecessary, but it's not the worst result in the world. I totally understand why people are, not pleased about how we went about that last half an hour. But Moyes has still got to, coronate this team together and find and find a way to get these new signings in and impact, because I think we had a base there, and I think we were different to last year. There was a few components that were recognisably different from how we played last year. I thought Thomas Tuchel was so much better than what we saw from him last year, and that's no coincidence that now the shackles are off for Souček. Now that Rice has left the club and he's got a little bit more of a licence, he's got a little bit more freedom in that midfield area. All of a sudden, you add Alvarez and Ward-Prowse, who is expected to be signed today at some point. So we're hoping to have that confirmation today at some point. Adding those players to that midfield and a couple of other additions, with the way we played and just a slight adjustment of the tactics, we're not too far away from where we want to be. And that is not what I expected myself to say coming into the game on Saturday. If you'd have, if I'd have repeated that sentence to myself at 2:30 on Saturday afternoon, I'd have been pleasantly surprised. So yes, of course, we would have liked to win. Of course, it's a little bit gutting that we didn't get the win from the position we were in with 10 minutes of normal time left. And of course, we were allowed and we were entitled to be a little bit annoyed with the way it ended. And I know we've got a horrific run of fixtures, but we've got a base. And that's the key thing. We've got a base to build on now, where it wasn't as bad as last year. You're kidding yourself if you're saying that was bad. That was as bad as some of the performances we saw last year. It was better. That's a fact. In my opinion, it's an opinion, but I think if you ask most West Ham fans, they'll say that was better than the dross we saw last year. And adding, as I said, a couple of those astute additions and changing things slightly, we can be where we want to be. And hopefully Moyes has hinted at, there's still plenty of signings to hopefully come through the door. That's what he wants. With the future of Lucas Paqueta still in doubt, of course, that's frustrating. Of course, that's playing on the fans' minds. We've already let go our best player this summer. We don't want to let go our now best player in the same transfer window. It wouldn't be a disaster, but it would be far from ideal to let Lucas Paqueta go, but push comes to shove, I think we might have to. I don't think we're going to be left with any choice in the situation that we will find ourselves in, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But just solely sort of talking about and reflecting on that game on Saturday, a slight bit of frustration, but I was relatively not happy. I was content with the way the way Bowen played, the way he scored that goal, the way he took that goal. Moyes has hinted about in interviews maybe shifting Bowen in a more permanent basis to a central role, to a number 9, sort of creating him and adapting him to a striker. And I think that will probably give Moyes confidence the way Bowen took that goal. It was superb. The tackle from Fornals, the kick on from Souček, and the cut inside but the Bowen does so well, and the shot, everything about it was very, very good. The way he bended it in, he left the keeper with no chance. It was a stunner to open up his campaign and West Ham's campaign for the Premier League season. So that should give Bowen some confidence, and overall it should give the team some confidence. Our last competitive game before Bournemouth was the final, so obviously a lot has happened since then to the football club in terms of players and whatnot. A lot has happened since then, so I think it was vital that we opened up our account on the opening day. We didn't leave ourselves, hunting on the second or third or fourth game for points. Of course, we're still doing that. We want to pick up points in every game, but we have opened up our account. We are off the mark. We aren't lurking and, just sat bottom on 0 points like we were after 3 games last season. And that's the, very small, but hopefully what we can make very big positives that we can take out of that game. Tactically, the last half an hour was a mess. I know it was, but we've got to take the positives out of it as much as we possibly can, because there is a team there. There is a team there if Moyes executes and implements the tactics in the right way. If he just makes those small changes that we all ask for week in, week out, that we all get frustrated about because of the way he plays, Moyes isn't going to change. We're kidding ourselves if we think he is going to drastically change his style of play. He's done it for 20 years as a manager, plus he's not going to change now. We are, if we're going to stick with Moyes, we know what we're going to get. We're going to be very defensive. We're going to sit and try and counter. And if we get a goal, it's a bonus. Then park the bus, shut the front door, start the car. Let's try and get out of the place with a win. That's Moyes' approach. That's Moyes' sort of implementation of the way he wants to play football. And hopefully if we can get a few more signings in to what's the word, sort of multiply the talent that we've got there, get some better players with some better quality, that's the word, some overall higher quality players. With the way we played on Saturday, I think there's still some positives to take out of it. Yes, Chelsea is going to be a difficult game next Sunday, but we always seem to turn up at home to Chelsea. That 1-1 draw we played okay in last year. The year before was the Masuaku goal. So we always seem to turn up at home to Chelsea. They played well. They played well yesterday. Don't get me wrong, but I still think at home we can, we can get in behind them. And if we can, who's going to start up front? If Antonio can get himself to some fitness, he was quite clearly not fit, Antonio. So if we can get him to some fitness, and get playing some positive football with new players, with new ideas, with fresh faces that can hopefully give the fan base and that crowd inside the London Stadium a bit of a lift. Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, get them on the ball early, let's create some chances, get some confidence, and perhaps cause an upset to Chelsea, which some people may not be expecting after their relatively positive and forward-thinking start to life under Mauricio Pochettino yesterday at home to Liverpool. So yeah, still some positives to take out of it. But yes, I know our fixture list for the next 6 weeks is horrific, but we've got to take each game at a time and have some belief in the squad. And, of course there'll be belief, but let's have some belief in the fan base that we can continue to consistently, hopefully pick up points in these next few games, pick up a good point here and there. Beat Luton, which we should do on paper. Of course, the occasion in the game is going to be more than what it sort of states on paper. But, maybe win that game, pick up a couple of points where we perhaps shouldn't have, and build some confidence, get some more players in, and build a team after Rice, and I think overall it's given us some hope that there is life after Rice. It's not all doom and gloom. We came up against a quite decent Andoni Iraola's Bournemouth, but they were quite decent. Of course, they're still adapting to a new style of play. They were good, but we matched them, I thought, which I didn't think we would. I didn't think we would be as good as we actually were, fluent in midfield when we've lost our best midfielder. So some of that didn't make sense in my head, but I was happy to see it. Hopefully we can build on it. It's all about building confidence in these opening games, continuing to pick up points, and hopefully building to a stable position in the Premier League by the time we get to European football and Europa League action in a couple of months' time. But for me, have a very good Monday, whatever you're doing. Cheers. And I will see you soon right here on West Ham, an official couple of exciting videos coming your way over the next couple of days. And then, of course, we'll start to build up with opposition previews and, of course, content building up to our London derby at home to Chelsea next weekend. From me, come on your eyes, and we'll see you soon right here on West Ham, an official. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.